If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way.
All righty, guys, welcome back to it. Conservative Confucius here. We are back for the Shabbat podcast. Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. How was your Friday, guys? We are going to get into, we have a lot of stuff on Israel today, like we always do on Friday. We always try to cover some of the Israeli conflict. We are going to be covering a lot of it today because there's a lot of news. This probably won't be as long of an episode as usual, but let's get right to it and do it, guys. We opened up with the AsmonGold video of him reacting to the conflict. It was hilarious, and he's completely right on everything he said. We'll finish that up here in the video, but let's get down to it. Do it, guys. Don't forget to go hit the like button for me, and please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. It really helps us out. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. Please leave a comment if you guys like, and share the video if you like it. Don't forget to go check out my Discord server at Conservative Confucius server. Go check out my merch store at streamlabs.com/Conservative Confucius/merch. We have lots of new shirts. Actually, let's get into it right now. We have our Team America shirt with the grunt style shoulders and stuff like that. So you got your American flag, you got my logo inside of the 13 stars of the 13 colonies, and that's the grunt style one. And we have the premium heavyweight. Oh, they're all premium, but this is like very, very, very nice heavy duty heavyweight shirt material, similar to Carhartt. I'd actually say it's basically the same exact material as Carhartt. Obviously, I don't buy them from Carhartt, but they're really, really nice. You guys can check that out. They're a little bit longer too, if you like a long sleeve or a long chested shirt or whatever you'd like this. Don't forget to go check out our Thug Life shirts. So we have the shoulders like that. Then we got our premium heavyweight ones, our premium heavyweight Thug Life Donald Trump one. You're fired as well in the grunt style shoulders. And we got our Trump with the cowboy hat looking all pimp. We have our Trump one shirts. We got different ones. They know it. I know it. You know it. Save America. Get over it. And then we have the math ain't mathin' with the election graphs for the voter turnout in 2012, 2016, 2020, and 2024, and how somehow 20 million voters disappeared between 2020 and 2024. Also, we have our You're Fired Kamala in the style of Uncle Trump. We have our electoral map with 226 to 312 on there. And we got our other stuff, guys. Go check it out. We got our American Horror Story stuff. We have our individual state Don't Tread on Me flags and country ones too. If you guys want your state done or your country done, please let me know. Alrighty, so let's get down to it and do it, guys. Here we go. Then we open up with this one. This is from Vivid at Vivid Prowess on X. This must go viral. This is Yosef, that's what they said. An Arab citizen of Israel tells exactly what happened in 1947 and 48. This is Yosef Haddad, by the way, or Haddad. He is an Arab Israeli.
So 1947. The partition plan was brought by the UN. And what happened is that the Jews accepted the plan, the Arabs denied the plan. The Jews accepted the plan despite the fact that it was much more smaller and without any natural resources. And because of the rejection of the Arab leader, the war began. And they lost. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this, because I want to talk about my grandfather. My grandfather got an order to evacuate and get out of his village.
Yes, because the Arab leaders individually had members of the military, of their militaries, come into what is now Israel and tell the Arabs who lived there, leave. If you leave, we'll send you back after 2 weeks once we've driven the Jews into the sea. This is exactly what they said. They said, once we drive the Jews into the sea and eradicate them, you can come back to more land and more property. And they were like, oh, that's a good deal. Why not? And a lot of them left. The ones who stayed and fought with Israel against the invading armies were able to keep their land. Around 600,000 Arabs from the West Bank, from the East Bank, and all of the areas that were going to be involved in a war on what's now Israel and on the other side of the borders of Israel in other countries where there was going to be war, where battles would be fought. They said, flee these areas and come into Jordan, come into Syria, come into Lebanon. Well, not really Lebanon, but Syria, and into Saudi Arabia, even in Egypt. So they fled, thinking they would be able to come back to more land, but they didn't. and that's over 600,000 of them. And around roughly 300,000 stayed. And of that 300,000, around 20% fought against Israel. And the ones who fought against Israel were told they had to leave, but if they didn't, they could swear allegiance to Israel, but if they didn't, they had to leave. Around 150,000 of them said no. About 100,000 of them said no, and they left. So you add those together, you get around 675 to 720,000 people who were total who were displaced. Most of them, like the mass majority of them, were told by the Arab leaders to leave. There was no Nakba. There was no Israel forcing people out violently with massacre. None of that ever happened. The only Nakba there ever was against the Jewish people in 1947 and 48. Well, actually 1947, really. Before Israel had even declared independence, it took in over 1 million Jews from Arab countries. Of that 1 million, nearly 900,000 were forced out of their country they weren't allowed to take their property, any of the things from their home. They were just the clothes on their backs and their children. That's it. And thousands upon thousands of them were slaughtered on their way out. And almost all of the countries that had sometimes hundreds of thousands of Jews, at minimum tens of thousands or thousands, all of them were down to almost no Jews. Morocco had nearly like 300,000 Jews, like 267,000, I think. And it now has less than 100. Iran had over, I think it was 47,000 Jews, and it now has one Jew. That's it. Just a single individual Jew. Iraq had over 25,000. Now they have zero. It's like this all over the Middle East, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia. Mainly, I don't think Saudi Arabia is on the list anymore. They kind of took it off because there wasn't a lot of Jews that were kicked out of Saudi. But Jordan, Syria, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Morocco, Libya, all kinds of, Pakistan, all of them.
Not by the Jews, by the Arab leaders from Syria and Lebanon. My grandfather rejected this request or demand back then. And he stayed and he said, I'm staying in my land.
Good.
And when the IDF came, no one took his land. So he stayed it there. And that's exactly how I become who I am today, which is an Arab Israeli.
All right, so here we are on this one. This is a Face the Facts. Everyone needs to hear the people of Gaza and what they're saying about Hamas. I'm going to quiet this down a bit so I can read it to you in case you need me to, for anybody who doesn't read English and can't speak Arabic. So, the whole world is against Israel. The world says that... Sorry. The whole world is against Israel. The world says Israel destroyed Gaza. No, you're the humane ones, not them. You bring us food, then they steal it. May God take revenge upon Hamas. They've destroyed our houses. We used to have a life. Oh, shit, my bad. We used to have a life. They destroyed our lives, our children's lives. They destroyed our houses. We used to have a life. We want you to rule here. We don't want Hamas. Then why don't we hear voices on the outside? We'll be killed. We'll be killed if we say anything. They'll kill us. They'll kill us. They're terrorists. Hamas took away our humanitarian aid. They took everything. Let me make sure it's a little bit quieter. Sorry. Hamas are terrorists. Wipe Hamas off the face of the earth. We are with you. We're with you. And she makes sure she affirms it over and over, telling him like 3 times, even touching him on the shoulder every time. You're with us, meaning the Israeli people. You're in the right. You're in the right. You're in the right. To the Israeli people, may God return your children to you. God willing, you'll destroy them. The Jews give us food. They bring us everything. Allow us to have a humanitarian corridor. May God take revenge upon Hamas. Is it the war or Hamas? Hamas. All the handicapped people I see are because of Hamas? Yes, yes. The IDF helped protect me. They brought me water. May God protect you. May God... Sorry, hold on. May God give you victory. Hamas are bastards. It's an ISIS organization. They are ISIS. They're worse than ISIS. God damn them. I expect the war to end when the hostages return to their homes. There you go. And their faces are blurred. Why don't we hear this outside? Why is this not being played on every mainstream news company in the world right now? Why don't they want this to be the narrative of what these, why don't they want this to be the narrative? Why are they refusing to show what actual Palestinians now think of Hamas? This is from Cheryl E.
Because they want to destroy our country. They want to destroy.
This is Trump's warning to anti-Israel protesters.
Our country. Under Biden, we have not one but two immigration disasters. We have one on the border, and we have one in the Biden State Department, which is admitting colossal amounts of jihadists into our communities and campuses and our refugee programs. That's why you see all of these big demonstrations in New York, in Chicago. Nobody can believe what's taking place. They're letting them in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We cannot allow that to happen, and we don't want to be like Europe with jihads on every corner. That's what happens. I mean, we're going to be like Europe. You take a look at London, you take a look at Paris, you take a look at what's going on over there. We want to be the United States of America, and we want to make our country great again. Right now, we don't have a great country. We have a laughingstock. As president, I will end once and for all the mass importation of anti-Semitism into the United States. And just as I did before, we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. We're going to keep them out of our country. We were keeping them out. We were keeping them out.
Yep. He had banned anyone who was associated to the Muslim Brotherhood as well as their terrorist groups, and including countries who were having ongoing conflicts with the U.S. that would possibly have Muslim immigrants coming into the country that were actually working for these groups. And I agreed with that. During a conflict, if there's a terrorist group in an area that seems to be sending a lot of refugees our way, we should make sure we investigate every single refugee. And if they are connected in any way to any terrorist groups, even if it's family members, cousins, second cousins, we don't let them in. It's not what's best for America. It's safer to take the risk that we don't let them in and send them to a country that may want them.
You remember the travel ban? On day one, I will restore our travel ban. We had a travel ban because we didn't want people coming into our country who really love the idea of blowing our country up. Let's blow up our streets and our shopping centers and our people. So I instituted what we call the Trump travel ban, and it was an amazing success. It was suspended immediately upon his people the hell out of our country. We kept them out. We didn't have not one instance. I didn't want to say it during the 4 years because I didn't want to walk out of the speech and have something happen, right? I'll also be implementing strong ideological screenings for all.
I'm not saying it's Trump's fault at all, believe me, but there was definitely instances of radicalism that happened during his tenure in America. We had that synagogue that was attacked and other things as well, but that's not because of him. It's because he was too pro-Israel almost. That's why. So I'm not blaming him, but I'm saying people didn't like his positions on Israel, and that's what causes a lot of it. But it's not his fault. It's the people. It's the radicals' fault for even trying to think that way. They need to be. It's no one else is responsible for their actions except for themselves.
Coming in, if you
except children
hate America, if you want to abolish Israel, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we don't want you in our country, and You're not going to be getting into our country. I will cancel the student visas of Hamas and sympathizers on.
Not only that, I hope we see funding from Qatar completely made illegal. So Muslim countries can no longer donate any money to American schools.
College campuses. The college campuses are being taken over. And
I did an entire video on who's funding our colleges. It's not just George Soros and people like that on the radical left. It's organizations that have connections to Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Qatar, all that stuff. And we went over the evidence in a previous video. I'll link it here at the end.
Of the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protest this month, nobody's ever seen anything like it. Come 2025, we will find you and we will deport you. We will deport you. Nobody's ever seen anything like Rashida Tlaib and Ilan Omar, who openly campaign against Israel. Nobody's ever seen this before. When asked recently about rising anti-Semitic hate, Joe Biden's own press secretary had nothing to say about the rabid mobs in the street, and they're shouting, "Kill the Jews, kill the Jews," and she had nothing to say. In fact,
yeah, they don't. That's because she doesn't care. Unless she can blame Republicans, she doesn't care. She'll always try to blame the right for anything that they do, for what their side does.
she stuck up for the other side. She started talking about the other side. You all saw it. Nobody could believe it. Then she came back later. She said, "Oh, I misunderstood the question." As president, I will absolutely protect our Jewish citizens from these maniacs, lunatics, radical left thugs. Threats or crimes of violence against Jews will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Right now, they go after Republicans, including me. They go after lots of people. They go after Catholics. I don't know what it is with the Catholics, but they're really after the Catholics, and they're after people wanting to make their school district better. This is a strange thing that's happening in our country. While in office, I took the strongest action of any president in history to combat the vile scourge of anti-Semitism.
But yes, he is right. Catholics are being attacked right now. You have the new Secretary of Defense that Trump appointed, Pete Hegseth, has a Jerusalem cross, which is a cross with 4 little crosses on it. So you got big cross, 1, 2, 3, 4, and some lunatic online was trying to say that was a swastika, and some Democrat, creator or influencer, old lady, was trying to say that was a swastika. Are you stupid? That's a swastika. Do you think we're so dumb that we don't know that's a swastika? And it's like, well, you're dumb enough to know that isn't a swastika. So yes, I think you are dumb enough to also sit there and make stupid posts like this. So yeah, you're definitely dumb enough. And it's just ridiculous. How can you sit there and think a cross is the same thing as a swastika? They look nothing alike. The Jerusalem cross looks, also known as the whole cross of the Holy Sepulchre, looks nothing like any German crosses or swastikas or anything. Not the big one with the black, red, and white flag. None of that stuff. And somehow he's been labeled a far right Nazi, even by his own military. They had tried to say that on January 6th, there was the presidential inauguration, the National Guard, the Army, they were all guarding certain places in the Capitol. And his team was invited to, was supposed to be part of it, but he got told the day before that he wasn't going to take part in the operation. And he said, why? And he said, well, right now it's just non-operative. We're going to have you non-operative right now. And for some reason, he was just, they were told him, sorry, you're not a part of this. And a few months later, when he was writing a book, he asked people in his unit and part of his team, hey, what was going on with that? And they said, oh, well, they told us actually sent a directive out that said that you were not to be included because of your Catholic beliefs in your tattoo, because they were a symbol of far-right extremism. It's crazy.
You know that. I signed a landmark executive order fighting anti-Semitic hate on college campuses and affirming that discrimination against Jewish students will be aggressively punished as a violation of civil rights. And that we didn't have that, if you can believe it.
Yeah, the dude literally sued a country club in Florida to allow Jews and blacks into the country club, gays, Jews, and blacks into the country club. And yet he's labeled as a racist, Nazi, and homophobic, racist Nazi. Yet he had a gay wedding at his house. He sued country clubs in Florida to allow blacks, Jews, and gays. And somehow he's the bad guy. Are you kidding me? The NAACP gave him 2 awards, 2 separate times. One award 2 separate times, I guess. So 2 different awards in different times. And I want to make that clear. And he was given it to being one of the greatest benefactors of the black community, or to the black community. And that's ridiculous that he's called all these names, yet no one wants to look at his record, and his record shows he's obviously not. So this is Mike Huckabee. I'm sure you guys have seen him. I'm not going to watch this whole video. He's actually the new ambassador to Israel.
But when you deny Jewish students the right to go to class, now it's a civil rights violation.
Just like Trump said.
Where I live in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957, 9 black students were kept from going to class. You know what President Eisenhower did? He federalized the National Guard and he sent the 101st Airborne in. Those 9 students went to school. I don't understand why this presidential administration doesn't recognize that it has a responsibility to protect these students. And it's not just the Jewish students, it's all the students. But what an outrage.
I believe that every college has a duty to not just protect their students, but to also teach a varied type of education and not just indoctrination. I feel like it's their duty to give kids every point of view and not just one or two on the same side even. Like, it's ridiculous. It needs to be multiple points of view from multiple different sides. Yeah, so you've probably heard and seen all the ridiculous bullshit about supposed Israel thugs attacking people at a football game violently, just Palestinian fans or whatever. It's bullshit. They didn't attack a French woman. They didn't attack Palestinian fans. They didn't attack a Palestinian woman. None of that happened. What happened is pro-Hamas and radical Islamists jumped the fence of the stadium to get in and got in and started attacking people. And the video that went viral was of a Jewish man beating the shit out of his attacker. And they said, oh, look, the Jewish man, he attacked, these innocent people who are just doing nothing. And it's all bullshit. The guy who attacked him called him a kike and all kinds of other stuff. So it's ridiculous. They hopped the fence and they got in a fight with people. The Jewish, Israeli fans just beat the crap out of them. So that's what happens. You F around, you find out. So this is Deborah Lee. This is hilarious, by the way. She went undercover wearing a little mask and a little sign and went into a pro-Palestinian rally, or pro-Hamas rally, really, because they're not pro-Palestine and they don't give a crap about Palestinians. So she went in, and the things that she got these people to say, not even got them to say, they just openly said, just by her asking non-leading questions. It's insane. So her name is Deborah Leon. Let's get into it.
Guys, it's Deborah Leon. We're going undercover at a pro-Palestine rally to see what these people are all about. Let's go. What's your favorite chant?
From the river to the sea. I think it's a classic.
One state, from the river to the sea.
Long live Intifada! Free Palestine! So if you have one message.
That was Avi Yemeni right there. That's Avi from Rebel News. Or wait, hold on. No, it's not. I didn't see the keffiyeh. So that's just a violent protester getting put in his place. It looked like Avi from Rebel News almost. I was like, what the hell?
So if you have one message for the people of
see, that's the thing. Jews are from the Middle East. That's why I literally looked at him and I was like, hey, look, it's Avi Yemeni. And I was like, wait, nope, it's just a different Middle Eastern.
Palestine, what message would you like to send them?
Remain steadfast in your resistance.
Really? Really? What resistance?
Israel is proving that they are the Satan in the world.
He means Jews, you can tell.
Palestine is already free. Everybody just has to catch up.
Really? Okay.
They're the guiding compass for us, so
Hamas is the guiding compass for you. Are you effing insane? You lunatic. Like, seriously, you're a sociopath, you freak.
We're looking to them for advice.
You guys have been fighting so hard. Please don't give up. And, one day we will all eat watermelon in a free Palestine,
We'll all eat watermelon in a free Palestine? Really? Can you name anything that grows in Palestine? No, because nothing grows in Palestine. Nothing. They trashed all the greenhouses when Jews gave them the land. They trashed all the water treatment facilities by not doing maintenance on them. So that's why Israel gives them free water, even though they shouldn't give shit to them for what they've been doing to Israel. And Israel gives them food even before the war. They shouldn't do shit. And Israel gives them electricity and internet, which they shouldn't, because they haven't done shit except for use that internet to attack, and electricity to attack Israel with weapons.
Message is what it's been all along. I didn't know growing up.
Know what?
About Zionism.
That it existed, or?
I thought Zionism was Judaism.
It's part of it. That's why every Jew in the world who prays says next year in Jerusalem.
We need to take on the slander that calling out Zionism is anti-Semitic.
It is.
But Zionism is a racist ideology. It's not anti-Semitic.
There's the thing I was mentioning. This is the nearly 900,000 Jews that were forced out of Israel, and here are the Palestinian population. And actually, 1948, it wasn't. In 1941, it was 156,000, but in 1948, it was roughly 300,000 to 400,000, and most of the people lived in areas that are now considered either Gaza or the East Bank, but for a while they were considered part of Israel, but mainly, they didn't have a huge population. For example, in 1948, there were over, I think, by the way, after they took in all these people, there was actually about 3.6 million Jews there. A lot of them died in wars over the next 20, 30 years, but yeah.
What about Jewish Zionists? Because there's a lot of Jews who are...
No. That I'm against.
There have been a lot of accusations about sexual violence that took place on October 7th. What do you think about that?
They're not.
Accusations of rape during a...
Really? Believe all women except for when they're Jews?
October 7th hasn't been proven at all.
What does that say again? Raped and mutilated women on October 7th. Even the BBC admits
I
it.
support Hamas.
They're not trying to do anything wrong to other
You support Hamas? Are you kidding me?
countries.
Yes, they are. They are openly trying to eliminate Israel from the face of the earth, and they have been attacking Jordan, and take part in actions with Syria and Lebanon, or against Lebanon. They've openly attacked even Egypt and other countries. So don't sit here and act like they don't attack any other countries or hurt anyone. They are the most radical, violent maniacs in the world.
There are martyrs and resist by any means necessary.
Revolution, nothing less.
Stay strong, everybody. Okay, now that we're done.
Yeah, she is not happy. I don't know how she kept her cool. Like, she was angry and she was walking away there. I wouldn't have been able to let those people say those lies and not confront them. So this is how Hamas uses humanitarian aid. They put rockets against it and literally use bags of flour and rice to fire rockets in Gaza. Those look like rice. Yeah, this is crazy. That was posted by Robin. Here's the AsmonGold clip. We're going to finish it up for you.
They'd be doing the same thing. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
I think they'd be doing more. Like this guy asks, how much do they kill? And that's what he said. Oh, how much did they kill? They killed as many as they could. Yes, that's true. They killed as many as they could. And he says, well, if they had the same weapons of Israel, they'd be doing the same thing as Israel. No, they would be doing, if they had the same weapons as Israel, they would wipe Israel from the face of the planet, while Israel does everything they can to not kill civilians. The whole 70% of victims of the conflict are women and children is complete horseshit. It's not even close to accurate. Not even close.
And how much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But
by the way, if you think if you think that teenage men, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds and women cannot be Hamas members or combatants, then you are also retarded.
If they did, they'd be doing the same thing.
That's
it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies.
Exactly.
They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity. It is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
100%.
It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them. If you want to...
Exactly, 100%. 100%. AsmonGold is right there. So this is from Leviathan. Pro-Hamas loyalists in Calgary attempt to block roads next to Harry Hayes Federal Building in Toronto and Ottawa and Montreal, like they do in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. It did not quite work out as the way they thought, and that's because Calgary is much more conservative than a lot of other places in Canada. Gaza, free Gaza, free Gaza. It's not how they say it. It's just Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. That's it. Not Gaza. It's Gaza. That's not how they say it. Free Gaza. Free Gaza. Move back! Move back! Move back! Yeah, they all got arrested, so they got what they deserved. So this is from open source intel. Joe Rogan on the... Oh, wait, hold on. This is something else. Oh, no, this is right. This is right. My bad. So yeah, Joe Rogan on collapsing civilizations and how people somehow seem to blame everything on the Jews towards the end of towards the collapse of a civilization.
People think there's some grand conspiracy, like we're all being puppet mastered by
manipulated.
So is Jews. So they think the Jews are
the Jews. It always gets to the Jews. It'll start somewhere and then goes to the Jews.
I forget who told me this, but it's like one of the symptoms of a collapsing civilization. They start blaming things on Jews.
Yep.
People think there's some grand conspiracy, like we're all being puppet mastered by
It's ridiculous. Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. All right, so this is from Bob on Twitter. Bob 0290479796000. Long. But yeah, so this is about the Muslim Brotherhood, and
Is it safe to say that the Brotherhood's ideology has served as kind of the intellectual foundation that has sprung a lot of the terrorist groups that we've seen, from Al-Qaeda to ISIS to everything in between?
Absolutely. I'm a doctor.
The birth of all of it.
In the daytime, I treat patients in disease. We don't treat symptoms. One of the primary global cancer cells for the development of Al-Qaeda, Islamic Jihad, all of these offshoots, the primary source of training ground is the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yep.
Some of them train to be part of the secret committee to ultimately be violent, and some of them come to the West to make sure our policy remains.
We have to remember something. I'm going to show you something. Taqiyya. Taqiyya is Islamic deception. I'm pretty sure this is how you use Taqiyya. No, Taqiyya. Taqiyya. I think that's it. Taqiyya. Okay, there it is. So Taqiyya is Islamic deception, where you can lie. See, the practice of concealing one's beliefs or ideas and forgoing ordinary religious duties when under threat. But really, it's what it is that you can even ask them. Taqiyya is the dissimulation or secrecy of religious beliefs and practices, and is it an action of maintaining secrecy to further Islamic agendas and religious agendas. So it's the way that they're allowed to lie to you, even if they believe that apostates should be killed, that women can be beat, that they can marry 9-year-olds or even 5-year-olds, and all of these things. They can say, no, I don't believe that. I believe that radical extremism is bad. I believe that terrorists are bad. I believe that apostates should just be able to live their life, and I believe that gay people shouldn't be thrown from roofs, and that children can't be married, and that we need to have an age of consent that's at least 18. And instead, they can say all of that, and it's not a sin. It's not zina. They are allowed. Zina is like sin, basically. They're allowed to openly say things that are not their beliefs, to lie to you, as long as they are continuing to do the things that they believe behind closed doors and in their private life and online and in their jobs, because they are furthering Islamic beliefs. It's deception that's permissible deception in the name of Islam. That's basically the best way to say it.
Means defensive and not offensive. So ultimately, the goals of their ideology is to create Islamic states and a caliphate, and that has never changed.
The Muslim Brotherhood, which seeks a totalitarian system of government and forced implementation of Sharia law the trickling effects of which we don't want to see in the United States. This ideology fuels ISIS and Al-Qaeda, subjugates women, executes homosexuals,
like I just
kills
said,
Christians, and inspires some American Muslims to commit acts of terror. 27% or 237 million Muslims believe non-believers should be executed.
Well, yeah, just so you know, 60 to 70% of Muslims believe in Sharia law and believe it should be the law of the land where they live. So that means that roughly 1.2 billion Muslims out of 1.8 billion believe that Sharia law should be the law of the land of wherever they live. That is insane. Sharia law is a radical extremist ideology of system of laws and beliefs. So if you believe that, you are a radical extremist. So that means 1.2 out of 1.8 billion Muslims are radical extremists. It is not the minority. It is not a small fringe group of Muslims. It's not the loud minority. It is the loud majority.
And 26% of young American Muslims believe suicide bombings against non-Muslims can...
That 26% of American Muslims believe that suicide bombings are justified. So that is nearly 1/3 of all American Muslims, not Muslims in Europe that are a little bit more radical. This is American Muslims, and nearly 30% of them, nearly 1/3, believe in suicide bombings being okay.
Can be justified. As such, the U.S. must defeat, humiliate, destroy, and discredit this poisonous radical ideology of Islamism, stemming from the Wahhabi Salafi ideology, Khomeinism, and the Muslim Brotherhood. Which brings me to recommendation number 2. Designate the Muslim Brotherhood as an organization that aids and abets terrorism.
The Muslim Brotherhood is already a terrorist organization. They've been responsible for terror attacks around the world.
The Muslim Brotherhood seeks to establish a worldwide Islamic state and build a new world civilization based on Sharia law.
A caliphate.
In fact, Russia, Syria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates have all listed the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization.
Egypt is where they were founded and has often been soft on them.
The U.S.
During Trump's presidency, they were really harsh on them, but that's just because Trump told them to be, or else they would not get anything from us ever.
Must follow suit. Next, number 3. Remove foreign extremist funding from American campuses and mosques.
Mr. Awad, why would the UAE put you and your group on the terrorist list? Site in the UAE that says the CARE was included on the list because of your long-standing ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Are you still linked to the Muslim Brotherhood?
Muslim Brotherhood, speaking of the Muslim Brotherhood, is not a terrorist organization. It is widely recognized as a popular movement.
Tell me what you're doing different to help Islam to have deeper roots in this country and for the next generation to be ready to take over, inshallah.
Dismantle the American empire. Great. That our aim is to dismantle that empire. People usually mobilize around issues. Revolutionaries organize against systems.
Saw this happen in Bangladesh, did we not? The young people rise up. And the thing is that there are actually...
Bangladesh is slaughtering people in mass.
Not enough soldiers in the United States of America, not enough riot cops, not enough police to get the young people back under control.
Understand that our shared enemy is white supremacy, imperialism, fascism.
Sharia is fascism. Are you insane? Islamism is imperialism. It's Arab imperialism. Islamic imperialism. What are you talking about? And you believe in superiority. You believe that Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures that have ever walked the earth. That that one day the stones and trees will call out and say, Muslim, oh Muslim, there's a Jew behind me. Come and kill him. Are you kidding me? You are everything. You are a capitalist. You will exploit people. What are you talking about?
Capitalist exploitation, then we are so much more numerous than our opponents are, and that with.
See, this is why in the Muslim, Malcolm X did not like you. Malcolm X was a radical in many ways, but he hated the fact that black people thought liberals were their friends. the left loves you because you talk about all these things that they hate. Imperialism, supposedly, they actually love it. They just don't realize it. Imperialism, fascism, authoritarianism, all this stuff. They talk about all that stuff just like you guys do. That's why you guys get along, even though your beliefs are so antithetical that literally, if you were alone and you guys finally had gotten rid of all conservatives, all right-wing people, and you believe that you finally defeated whatever you're trying to defeat, and then you guys lived in a country side by side, they would destroy the progressive left in a moment's time. Instantly, the moment that the other enemies were destroyed, those two, which were quote unquote allies, kind of, would immediately attack. Well, they would the progressive left would be attacked by the so-called progressive extremist Muslims, and they're not progressive at all. They're very, very regressive, just like the progressives today are regressive, but in completely different ways. Alrighty, guys. That is going to be it for this one. Don't forget to go check out my merch store. We'll bring that up again real quick. So we got our great shirts. We got, let me show you on here. We got we got our brand new ones. We got our Team America with the flag on the shoulder and the 13 stars on the logo. We got the heavy duty one or heavyweight one with the Carhartt material, Team America. We got the Thug Life with the shoulders up there. We got the heavyweight one with the Thug Life. We got Thug Life with Trump on it, and You're Fired with Trump, and then Trump cowboy hat one that looks awesome. Trump won in a few different versions of that. We got the election turnout graph, and it says the math ain't mathin', make it make sense. You're Fired Kamala, and a whole bunch more, guys. Super Trump, American Horror Story with Kamala Harris as a monster, all kinds of great stuff. We got our Elections Wars 2024, and I'm going to add another design piece to this where it says Trump 2024 Election Wars. And then it will probably say like we won or something like that. All right. And then I'm going to make a Liberty Bell shirt that says give me liberty or give me death too. So if you guys want any of these, let me just go down to my store at streamlabs.com/conservative-confucius/merch. That's streamlabs.com/conservative-confucius/merch. All righty, guys. Thanks for coming down. And don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Really helps the channel. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and leave a comment as well. And if you like this video, please share it. And also go check out my Discord server. All right, guys, have a good one. Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Have a good Friday. I will see you next time.